So, dear distinguished scholars, thank you for gathering for this closing ceremony. I hope that you all had a fruitful discussion and experience throughout these 2 days. So next year, ASLI will return to Singapore, its birthplace. So please join me in welcoming Professor Simon Chesterman, the Dean of National University of Singapore Faculty of Law, for his presentation on the 20th ASLI conference in 2023. So Professor Chesterman, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Professor Goto. And on behalf of everyone, thank you to you and all of your colleagues at the University of Tokyo. Like many here, I have benefited from the hospitality of physically visiting Todai. And my only regret in this conference is we didn't have that opportunity to break bread together, perhaps sneak a glass of sake. But on behalf of everyone, domo arigatou gozaimashita. For all of the efforts to you and all of your colleagues. For 19 years, ASLI has been bringing people together. And for most of its history, happily, that meant bringing people together in person. ASLI was actually born soon after the SARS epidemic that many of us experienced. But until recently, we were able to do that annual event in person, to have the ASLI Fellows Program. But what I think this year's conference demonstrates to all of us is that ASLI is really about people and ideas, and there are ways in which we can still collaborate, that we can still work together. On Friday, we had the Board of Governors meeting where we went through the business of ASLI, but also celebrated some of its successes. And in addition to this conference, members will be pleased to know about the success of the journal, the Asian Journal of Comparative Law, ASLI's journal, but also that we will be restarting the Visiting Fellows Program. There were, believe it or not, fellows who were appointed for 2020 who are still waiting, but we're looking forward to welcoming them to Singapore in 2022. And I think, like many of you, I hope, we're heading into 2023 very optimistic, even into the latter part of 2022. I do want to thank, on behalf of NUS, Kelry and Meng Seng for their leadership of ASLI during this difficult period. When I asked them to take on the leadership, they knew it would be challenging, but maybe didn't anticipate all of the tricky things that they would have to navigate. But looking forward, we are really excited about the opportunity to have an in-person conference next year in Singapore. We're looking forward to renewing old acquaintances in person. There are many familiar faces on this screen and many new faces to me. But all of us in Singapore are excited about the opportunity to welcome you here in person, to build on the successes of ASLI, to build on some of the conversations that were started in these meetings and breakout sessions over the last 48 hours or so. And my own hope is that you come out of next year's conference as you have come out of this conference, with new energy, new ideas, and most importantly, new friends. And so with that, I think Kelry might have something to add about the conference. We've got a little video to present, but really in person. Thank you again to Professor Goto, all of your colleagues at Todai, for a really wonderful, exciting conference. And in the chat, I've been having some exchanges with people who really benefited from their experience and hopefully starting collaborations that will grow into the future. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Professor Chesterman. Kelly, do you wish to share your...
Professor Goto, perhaps you might want to put up the video now.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Simon Chesterman. I have the great honour of being Dean of the National University of Singapore Faculty of Law. Here at NUS Law, we style ourselves as Asia's global law school, and those words embody three discrete identities that we have. First, we're the National Law School. For a long time, we were the only law school in Singapore, now joined by happy competitors at Singapore Management University and the Singapore University of Social Sciences. Like you, we're also a global law school, aspiring to take part in important debates about global legal issues that affect all of us. But we're also vitally an Asian law school, a school that is deeply committed to the region. And that commitment was established 20 years ago when we set up the Asian Law Institute with many partner institutions who are together with us in this virtual meeting space today. And a decade ago when we set up our own Center for Asian Legal Studies. And what we've been trying to contribute to over those 2 decades is really cultivating, encouraging, taking part in an intra-Asian debate about what law is and what it should be. Not just comparing Asian jurisdictions with the West, but comparing jurisdictions across the region, between ourselves, learning from one another, and establishing that we have a lot to offer. And I think ASLI has really demonstrated that over the decades. Now, of course, I'm speaking to you virtually today because of the pandemic, and I want to express my deep gratitude to our colleagues at the University of Tokyo for hosting this year's ASLI meeting. But I'm also delighted to say that we will be hosting ASLI in June 2023 in person here at NUS on our beautiful Bukit Timah campus. So my colleagues and I are excited to welcome you, excited to reconnect, to meet back in person, and we hope to see all of you here in June 2023. Until then, thanks so much. Have a great day.
Greetings from the Asian Law Institute, ASLI. I'm Kelly Loy. My colleague Dr. Wee Ming Sing and I are the co-directors of ASLI. The Secretariat of ASLI is located right here at the Faculty of Law in the National University of Singapore, NUS. Much in the modern world has become virtual and moved online. But as you can see, ASLI still maintains a real presence in the real world. The objective of ASLI is to promote cooperation amongst law schools interested in the development of Asian law. This cooperation is meant to foster Asian legal scholarship. The ASLI Annual Conference is the flagship event of ASLI, where hundreds of scholars from within Asia and beyond Asia will gather to share ideas on legal challenges in Asia and how Asian law should rise to meet those challenges. Ming Sing and I are very happy that in June 2023, the NUS Faculty of Law will host the 20th Annual ASLI Conference. With the support of Dean Simon Chesterman of NUS Law, as well as the Board of Governors of ASLI, we are confident that the upcoming conference to be held in Singapore will be a successful one. As the world evolves, it will be imperative for Asian law to rise to meet new challenges. It will be a great privilege to see how leading Asian law scholars respond to the ongoing challenges of our time, particularly in the context of Asia, where diversity is abundant as a reality and inclusivity is paramount as an ideal. We look forward to seeing you in person at NUS Law in June 2023.
Thank you very much, Dean Chesterman and Professor Loy, for this very fascinating video and your presentation on ASLI 2023. We are looking very much forward to next year's conference in June and to finally meet again in person. So now let me invite Professor Masami Okino, Vice Dean of our faculty, and the chairperson of the preparation committee for this year's conference. So Professor Okino, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello, everyone. And thank you, Dean Professor Chesterman, for your kind words. In closing this 19th ASLI conference, I would like to say a few words as a Vice Dean of the University of Tokyo Graduate Schools for Law and Politics and chairperson of our preparation team. Today and yesterday, we witnessed that learned scholars and young and promising scholars gathered together and made stimulating presentations and exciting discussions on various topics under the general theme of the conference, sustainable development and law in Asia. We learned a lot about the situations, similarities, and differences of other jurisdictions in Asia. Although we did not have a chance to dine together, we got sufficient food for thoughts and future studies. Once again, we would like to repeat that it was our great honor and pleasure to host the 90th ASLI conference, thus contributing to the ASLI to achieve its objectives to deepen mutual understanding and friendship and develop further collaborations among Asian law scholars for excellence in research and teaching. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, we are forced to have the conference totally online. We are lucky that we had two predecessors on hosting the online ASLI conference, National Law University Delhi and Universitas Pelita Harapan. We are most grateful for their sharing their experiences. We did our best, but we regret to say that there have been troubles in connections and communications online, as well as confusions due to time difference. We apologize for any inconveniences and extra burdens on chairpersons, presenters, and past participants. We ask you for your indulgence. We recognize that there are advantages with online conference. We could get together over the distance. However, we miss meeting in person. Next year is the 20th anniversary of ASLI, and in the memorial year, its annual conference will be held in its birthplace, National University of Singapore. We are also confident that the conference will be of great success since NUS boasts a capable and strong ASLI secretariat directed by wonderful leadership of Professors Kelly Loy and Wee Man Sten. Lastly, but not the least, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the Secretariat, members of the Board of Governors, and everyone who took part in this conference. Thank you very much, and see you next year in Singapore. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Professor Okino. So it is now the time to close the conference, and we will have Professor Kelly Loy, co-director of ASLI, for the final remark of this conference. So Professor Loy, please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Professor Gengoto, for your kind words. Professor Masami Okino, Dean Simon Chesterman, ladies and gentlemen, Board of Governors of ASLI, and of course, learned friends and colleagues from all over the world. Greetings from ASLI. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for joining us over the last 2 days and making this conference a success. The team, of course, concentrated on sustainability in the modern world, especially in the context of Asia. Thank you very much. Now, without the support of the board governors, this event would not have been possible. Now, Professor Okino and her team worked tirelessly together with Ms. Lynette Wong, as well as Ms. Alexandria Chan of the Secretariat, to put this whole event together. Now, I must say that the Japanese team from the University of Tokyo, the degree of detail, the attention to detail that they put in is just tremendous. You have my greatest respect for this. Thank you all so very much for making the event a great success. Now, I sincerely look forward to seeing all of you next year at the 20th ASLI annual conference in June 2023 to be held in Singapore. To repeat, the theme then would be inclusivity and diversity in the context of Asian law. And as I said in that video, in Asia, what we have in abundance is diversity. And what we need, all right, in order to accommodate that diversity is, of course, inclusivity. All right. And with this very positive note, thank you all and goodbye and see you again.
Thank you, Professor Loy. On behalf of the University of Tokyo Graduate Schools for Law and Politics, let me take this opportunity to thank our administrative staffs, student assistant, the ASLI Secretariat, the Board of Governors, the chairs, presenters, and last but definitely not the least, all of you who attended this conference to make it a success. So thank you very much once again, and see you next year in Singapore. Thank you, and bye.
See you in Singapore. Bye.
See you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.